We have not lost sight of what we're focused on doing, and that's bringing justice to those 3 girls.
Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at an update in the manhunt for Travis Decker, which has gone on for almost 4 months. And it all started when he picked his daughters up from his ex-wife's house and then took them to this Rock Island campground area, right? So they went there and he was supposed to return them that night. I'll show you a presentation in a moment and a timeline. I just want to show you the map just so you can orientate yourself. He was supposed to return them to their mother that evening and didn't. And she got very worried. A few days later, found the little girls' bodies around near this Rock Island campground. Now, after 4 months of searching and using, again, it's multiple agencies, dogs, drones, grid searches, teams, ATVs, everything you can imagine, right? You know where they found him? They found him here on this Grindstone Mountain. They mentioned Grindstone Mountain, but they did say along Icicle Road, and this is still Icicle Forest Service Road, and I think it was mentioned that it was like within 3 miles of the campground, so not far from where his daughters' bodies were found. So like right there somewhere, and they actually believe now that the evidence would be consistent with him not running around all over the place and then coming back to this area, that he would actually have murdered his daughters and then run off in this direction towards this mountain and then may have succumbed to his injuries. They are still busy with tests with a medical examiner to determine his cause of death. They say if it turns out to be like a homicide or something, then they'll launch a homicide investigation. But at this point, they believe that he succumbed to whatever injuries he had, and they know he had injuries because there was blood on his abandoned vehicle. And it was like, I think they said it was like a handprint on the back of his truck, and it was his blood. So something was injured, right? Now, what we're first going to do is just a quick recap, and then we will watch the press conference as well, the most recent one where they were able to confirm that those were his remains. Just look at these little girls, Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia. Paityn was 9 years old, Evelyn 8 years old, and Olivia 5 years old. If you don't know anything about this case, we have followed it very closely. There's multiple live streams. I think there's mostly live streams. I don't know if there's videos, but there's multiple episodes where we were following very closely, and there's deep dives we've done on the background of, you know, Whitney, the mother of these 3 little girls, shame, and I feel so sorry for her. Whitney and Travis, and when they were married and when they got divorced, and the whole timeline. We've done a much deeper dive than I'm going to give today. Today's just a recap so that you're ready for the press conference, a bit of a refresher. I will link all of those previous episodes in the description box below. You can also find them on the Manhunt playlist, okay? So these girls, trigger warning, were smothered. They had plastic bags put over their heads. Some, they said double plastic bags, and zip ties. So they were smothered to death, all 3 of them. It's horrifying. And within hours of being picked up for visitation with their dad. And then when they did testing on the bags, they found it was only Travis Decker's DNA on those bags. And at the scene, because their bodies were just down a hill from where his truck was abandoned, which was near that Rock Island campground. And interestingly, he camped near there the night before, and he had his dog with him. And they apparently found the dog just wandering around in the area. And when they continued to look for the little girls, they found their bodies just down an embankment. Oh my goodness, how traumatizing. Even just being the investigators on the scene to discover these 3 little girls' bodies with plastic bags over their heads. It's unthinkable. And then see, there's his abandoned truck. There's blood on the back of the truck. It's Travis Decker's blood. They tested it. Where the heck is he? Huge manhunt. Wanted to, of course, hold him fully accountable. They already had documents ready. They'd already charged him with murder. Yeah, and so finally they found his remains. But shame, and my heart goes out to Whitney, the mother of the 3 little girls. I cannot imagine. I hope that she knows we've got her back. Like, an international community has her back, right? So just a quick recap. 32-year-old Travis Decker picks his daughters up at their mother's home in Wenatchee, Washington at 5 p.m. for a court-ordered visitation. That was on May 30th of 2025. May 30th. By 8 p.m., he failed to return the girls as scheduled. Whitney, their mother, tries to contact Travis, but his phone goes straight to voicemail. She reported her daughters missing to the Wenatchee Police Department. Whitney also told them that there's concern about Travis's mental health and his failure to comply with court-ordered mental health treatment and anger management. Wenatchee police began efforts to locate Travis, checking hotels, campgrounds, and using surveillance systems and vehicle tracking. An Amber Alert was not issued as the case did not meet the criteria due to Decker's custodial visitation rights and lack of immediate evidence of abduction or imminent danger. On June 3rd of 2025, the Wenatchee Police Department and Chelan County Sheriff's Office announced a manhunt for Travis Decker, accused of killing his 3 daughters, Olivia, Evelyn, and Paityn, whose bodies were found near Rock Island Campground, west of Leavenworth, Washington. That is so sad. So that's the truck that he was driving. And at the time when it was this manhunt, they were talking about the truck. If anyone had seen the truck, if he had dash cam, ring cam, all of that, just traveling in that direction, he'd abandoned his truck. And so there was blood on the back of it, as I say. So flyers went out and everybody was looking for this guy. There were lots of tips called in, and to the point where they actually spoke to one guy that was later interviewed by the local media, who somebody thought that's definitely Travis Decker. And he's like, "What? You thought I was Travis Decker?" But I mean, he looked slightly similar, but he was just like, whoa, it was so hectic. Like, the police were all like, get him, get him. We've seen it in other cases, right? Remember when they were looking for Brian Laundrie? Same. Remember when they busted into some like cabin and they practically arrested some guy and it wasn't Brian Laundrie? Yeah, shame. In this case, they also they zoned in on a guy, but it turned out to not be Travis Decker. Now, Whitney and Travis were married for 7 years, but they've been divorced since 2022. Travis had visitation rights with his 3 children, 9-year-old Paityn, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia. Authorities had charged him with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping. His dog is found at the scene, along with a bloody fingerprint on the truck's tailgate and male blood samples. So then, September 19th of 2025, human remains, bone fragments, clothing matching Travis Decker's last known outfit were discovered in a remote wooded area south of Leavenworth via helicopter search. And it was a helicopter search that used AI technology. And I must mention, it was an operational psychologist that works with the FBI, who you will hear about at the press conference. You'll hear Sheriff Morrison thank her repeatedly. Because she, and I just find that so fascinating, firstly, that it was AI technology combined with drone technology that found the human remains, but how did they know to look in that area after 4 months on their 4th major search in a specific area? Oh, an operational psychologist, you say, and her name is, let's see here quickly, I've just got in the background here, Dr. Stacy, Dr. Stacy, I shall call it. I don't want to mess up her surname. Cecchet. That's how you spell her last name. So we will look at that in a moment. Let's just put this back here. Okay. So that was on September 19th that human remains were found. I then updated you all with a YouTube short. So make sure you do check out my YouTube shorts, because sometimes when there's a little update like that, I will let you know. And then on September 25th of 2025, the remains were positively identified as Travis Decker's via DNA. The forensic test came back. The manhunt ends. The investigation shifts to closure. And Sheriff Morrison said this was one of the most horrific crimes we've seen. Glad to put it behind us. So just thinking of these little girls, my goodness, how horrifying. And thinking of Whitney. Now, are you ready to watch this press conference with me? Let's quickly bring this up here.
We are close to justice being served and law prevailing. During our search yesterday around 15:30 hours, that'd be 3:30 p.m., Our search teams did locate an anomaly that was seen in AI imaging from our drones. In closer inspection, when we got that, we did see that it was potentially a shirt. We were able to get units on the ground that did confirm that the shirt was consistent with what we had seen in previous surveillance photos with Travis Decker. So I am confirming the shirt that we saw on scene is a match for what Travis was last seen wearing. In addition to shorts, which were U.S. Rangers shorts, they were also a match. And also personal items to include chewing tobacco that was consistent with what he had chewed, a bracelet which is consistent with what we'd seen in photos of him wearing. We found additional body parts today to include 2 feet, some femurs, and also some vertebrae. We've requested that these items also be sent off to Washington State Patrol's crime lab for additional testing.
I don't think anyone's probably going to stop me from starting early, so that works for everybody. So come on up there. Just make sure everyone's ready. We're good? Good. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming here. We're coming full circle. We look at about 4 months ago, we were just sitting here breaking the news about this tragic situation of the deaths of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia. And today I stand before you again with news that we have received our DNA results back from the Washington State Patrol's crime lab from the items that we recovered last week. That would be the clothing and also the human remains. We are glad to say that those remains do come back as a positive match for Travis Decker. It's a big day for Chelan County Sheriff's Office, all of our federal partners, that we can finally bring a close to this dark chapter of Chelan County. Certainly pay respects to the deaths of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia. We wanted to show honor to them, let them know that we never forgot about them. We haven't forgot about their family. To Whitney, we apologize that it's taken this long to get the closeness and the closure that we are looking for in this case, but I hope that you can rest easier at night knowing that Travis is accounted for. He is deceased. Our DNA results confirm that, and this will bring a close to our case. I want to thank our detectives, our investigative unit, for the amount of time, effort, and just overall sacrifice that they put in. They never relented on this case. They remained focused, and they made sure that, number one, justice was served, and most importantly, the law prevailed in this situation. We appreciate all of our federal partners, the FBI, the U.S. Forest Service, the U.S. Marshal Service will come up and talk after me, and then we'll take questions after that. We also had our partners at the Criminal Investigation Division, Border Patrol with their BORAT team, and also their BOR-STAR team. We couldn't have done this by ourselves. We're a medium-sized agency, as I've said throughout this process. We appreciate our federal partners standing up alongside of us, assisting us. We appreciate the Washington State Patrol. Specifically, I'd like to give thanks to operational psychologist Stacy Gutchett and her work and her forensics analysis of Mr. Decker that assisted us in our fourth search, pointed us in the direction of Grindstone Mountain, an area of interest that we wanted to search, and her insight and guidance led us to an important area to search where we did eventually locate Mr. Decker. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves. I want to thank the King County Sheriff's Office.
Sorry, just quickly going to pause there. That is a picture of the operational psychologist who works with the FBI, and he'll talk about her later again, he being Sheriff Morrison. Everybody behave yourselves. I can see you in chat if you're watching the live stream with me, okay? True Crime Addicted said, anyone else getting thirsty? Thank you so much for your sticker. So he mentioned the operational psychologist, and she helped them strategize where he would go, like where exactly she thinks Travis Decker would go and which area they should search. And it's just amazing to think that the combination of an operational psychologist and then a drone using AI technology is what led to finding Travis Decker's remains. Now, what they said in a previous press conference when they found the remains was that it was skeletal remains, bone fragments, including a finger, ribs, a femur, and feet, clothing matching Decker's last known outfit, a green t-shirt, a US Ranger shorts as well, chewing tobacco, and a bracelet consistent with his possessions. Several bones were collected and sent to the Washington State Crime Lab for analysis, and then DNA testing was completed by September 25th of 2025, which positively confirmed the remains as Travis Decker's. The coroner's office is now working to find out what happened to him, how did he die, right? And so we will, we'll wait to see what they say. But they seem to think the most plausible scenario would be that he succumbed to his injuries, perhaps then by self-deleting.
Office, the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office for also coming alongside of us, allocating their air assets to us. We could not have done it by ourselves if we had not had the rappelling capabilities that we had from the helicopters. Again, we would have struggled. They would have taken months longer, and we're thankful for that. But most importantly, to our community, thank you. Thank you for supporting us, being patient. We wanted this wrapped up within the first couple days. We knew it took months. We knew that you sat on edge as we were also stressed out about this situation. But again, you never wavered your support from us. We're grateful for that. We haven't forgot it, and we hope that you can also rest easy at night knowing that Mr. Decker is accounted for. Unfortunately, he's deceased. To his family, my condolences to you. I understand this could be your brother, your son, your family member. We never wanted any harm to come to him, but unfortunately the circumstances are what they are. He succumbed to whatever injuries those were. We're going to hear back from our coroner's office, the medical examiner, if they're able to get a cause of death or a time of death. But we appreciate them also working with us, working closely with us, and also being respectful of those remains as we found them. We will hand them back over to his family when the time's appropriate. But we just thank everyone that has come alongside the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, the media, who has also been here assisting us as we've kept Mr. Decker's face out there in public. I know at times a lot of the citizens, not only here in Washington State, but nationally, were wondering when are we going to get closure to this case. Again, we needed the media to do this. We needed them to keep their face out there so we could have Travis, if he was out beyond our borders, at least under some pressure. But again, fate had what it was. We were able to locate him. And again, we appreciate it. I'm going to let the U.S. Marshal Service also present. They've been alongside us from day one. We appreciate that partnership, the resources, the finances they put into this. We couldn't have done it without them. Same with the FBI, but the Marshal Service really took on a heavy burden for us, overseeing the search efforts, while our detective investigative units went and focused primarily on the investigation, knowing that we were getting ready for a criminal trial. This was a triple homicide. We never lost sight of that. This was also a kidnapping. We never lost sight of that. Before I conclude, though, I also want to make sure that I pay thanks specifically to the Wenatchee Police Department, Detective Hewitt. If it had not been for his tireless effort, the days coming up to Monday when we jumped into this investigation, we would have had 2,900 square miles that we've had to search without any real guidance. His efforts, the Wenatchee Police Department's, their investigative unit, certainly gave us a leg up to be able to track them down, get to the site quickly. We thank Deputy Mike McLeod for his quick work in finding that campsite. But again, not only nationally with our federal partners, state partners, but regionally we had help with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, East Wenatchee Police Department, Wenatchee Police Department. But specifically, I want to make sure that Detective Hewitt was recognized for his efforts, his work. He certainly gave us everything we needed to jump into this investigation and get there quickly. And they continued to stay beside us, talking with Whitney and the family, making sure that they were talking with them as we were focusing on the investigation. So I just want to make sure I said thank you to them as well. I'll let the Marshal's Office speak, and then after that, we'll take any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not that Mickey said, I hope this makes Whitney feel safer. Yes, shame, because I mean, it's actually pretty scary to think of, you know, what he could have done to her. Maybe he was heading back that way to her house. So she must have been terrified and so heartbroken. He murdered their 3 kids. I mean, sure, that's really rough.
Sheriff. Jerome Brown with the Marshal Service. I'm based out of Spokane, Washington. I'm the supervisor for the task force. The first time I spoke before this podium, I promised you that we would not stop until we found the fugitive. My job and my team's job is to find the fugitive using the Rapid Advancing Manhunt program, which we did, along with the help from the partners that was mentioned from the sheriff already. There's numerous to mention. I'm not going to go over the list again, but without the community, which is what this truly is about, law enforcement community, family community, community members that are out here present. Without all of you, we could not have done this. This is a team, truly team, family endeavor. That's why this was successful. So remember that when you go home, that we were supported with food, roofs, things when we needed them to accomplish our mission as a law enforcement community. You helped us and supported us in that endeavor. That's why we are successful. So, again, thank you to everybody, and I'll go into questions unless Sheriff has something else.
No, we'll open it up to questions.
Are you able to talk a little bit, if at all, I know it's very early, about how he died or when he died?
We're going to leave it up to the coroner's office. Coroner Harris has already confirmed that they're doing the best they can with their medical partners to determine if they can determine a cause of death and also how long he had been deceased when he was out there. Again, we understand that process takes time. We did not get full remains. We have gotten majority of the remains back. But again, that's a process, and we're hoping that they are able to determine that, because we know that some of the community wanted to know. But as of now, we don't have those answers.
Sheriff, were there any clues to try to figure out whether he had been on the run all this time or if he went straight to Grindstone Mountain?
Based off the information we have, it appears that the potential of him going directly up Grindstone Mountain shortly after the event or within that day would be pretty consistent. But again, we'll look at the time frame once we hear back from the coroner's office, and hopefully we can get a clearer picture on what was the cause of death. Again, if it was anything outside of what would be an explainable cause of death and it wasn't at Mr. Decker's own decision by his own hand, we would investigate that as a separate homicide. Again, we will pay respects to him. We'll honor his family as well, but we'll wait to hear what the coroner's office and the medical examiner has to say.
Sheriff, how were you able to circle in on this one specific tiny area that actually found it?
So this was our fourth search. It was a planned search. We appreciate the U.S. Marshals overseeing that, taking it on. The FBI had done our third one. After that, this was the area that we had been speaking with the Washington State Patrol and their operational psychologist, who I mentioned before. That would be Stacy Chuckett. Really appreciate her insight. So we did get forensics analysis when it came back from the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI, with their forensic psychologist, and of course the Washington State Patrol. And she had highlighted an area of interest that was on Grindstone Mountain. She even guesstimated about what elevation we were looking at, and we really appreciate her insight. She brought certainly a different perspective than we had received from the FBI or the Marshal Service. But again, we were taking information as we could throughout this investigation. It was rapidly evolving. I think we utilized our resources best as possible. And the last iteration, Washington State Patrol coming in with this contracted operational psychologist, certainly gave us a different area to look at, but it was always something that we were going to check next as our search area continued to expand out.
I still think that's so amazing that an operational psychologist helped to narrow down a search area, even guesstimating the elevation where Travis Decker's remains may be found, and then they found them on Grindstone Mountain, very close to where, I think that, let me just see the distance that they said. It was approximately 0.74 miles from the Rock Island campground, really not far. 0.74 miles, wow, from where the girls' bodies were found. So he didn't go very far at all. He was definitely majorly injured. It's just, yeah, it's amazing, you know, that they, I'm not faulting them. It's just amazing that they hadn't found him yet at the time, because it's like actually right under their nose, right? That's so hectic. So even when you've searched an area multiple times, never lose hope, because who you're searching for might be right under your nose still, with all that technology and everything. Never give up. And I'm very proud of this team. They have worked so hard. And again, it's a multi-agency search. So many of them communicating, working together, and doing such a great job. And they've done a really great job keeping the public informed as well, right? Okay.
What was kind of the clues that led to that area being, as you mentioned, an area of interest?
It was outside of the three search areas that we had already checked. It was certainly within sight of our original crime scene. And we knew also with the information that had been obtained with the psychologist there from Washington State Patrol that they viewed that would be an area that they might have singled out, or Mr. Decker might have viewed out as an area that he would have headed.
Sheriff, I saw that there was a tip line. How many people submitted to that tip line? And did rumors or any other leads kind of prolong the lead, or was that difficult in that
Yeah. So certainly we were running our tip line. We really appreciate the FBI coming in and overseeing that over the first couple of days of the operation. You're going with thousands of tips coming in, and then of course it slowly dwindled down. But you're hearing leads that everyone was telling us, you've missed it, he's already in Canada, he's in Mexico. Clearly we have the Marshal Service. They have relationships as well with international partners. We did have international partners in Mexico and Canada following up on leads, along with nationally here. We had viewings in Montana, Idaho, Texas. So again, we appreciate our national resources that we had. Also, we had local resources in different states that were willing to step up, assist us, track down leads. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves, but certainly we weren't overlooking any tip that came in, any bit of advice that we had. But it certainly strained our resources that we did have, but we primarily kept our focus here with our investigators, and eventually we got the results we were looking for.
Oh, quickly pause. Somebody said something that I wanted to pause for. Grendel said it's a specialized profiler that the FBI BHU uses too. And here she was working with the Washington State Patrol. And Nubian Max said Dr. Stacy did her thing. I'm so proud of her. Yeah, if anyone if she's watching and you want to reach out, I'd love to talk to you about your work, right? My email is grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. Okay, so Kerry said it's proof of how teamwork incorporating psychological, law enforcement, and wider science really is the key in some cases. Yes, and not that Mickey says yes, they never gave up. Yeah, amazing.
Just how with me and kind of walk us through how the family is coping at this time. We know that this has been a tragedy that's devastated the entire community.
Yeah, so I have been in touch with Whitney. We've certainly tried to respect her privacy throughout this process. We know that she's grieving, the family's grieving. We've told her that we will share information that she feels appropriate. We had a general idea. I'd like to thank Captain Chance with Wenatchee Police Department. He really was the point of contact primarily with the family. But when we did have press releases that came out that I felt would be more shocking to the conscience, we did try to communicate that with her so she wasn't taken back by it. But we understand no matter what, this is not going to bring Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia back. If anything, we just hope that maybe she would sleep better at night. She wouldn't be looking over her shoulder. But we understand nothing we can do is going to reverse this travesty and bring her daughters back, which we feel for that, but we certainly have done everything we can to be supportive of her and respect her privacy and keep her informed when she needed to be.
Can you tell us just how it feels for you personally and for your department fighting at the same time?
My focus is more back on my agency. I understand that a lot of our deputies have taken a huge toll when they're sitting there on the crime scene for hours on end. Our detectives are having to read through these reports, the fine details of the case that no officer in his law enforcement career should really have to read through. So I certainly am focusing on them, making sure that they have the support they need with psychologists, critical incident stress management, peer supporters. We've done everything we can to make sure we're supporting them on that front. I would say personally that I certainly view it as a win for our community that we can close this. This has been a very dark chapter. You're looking at one of the largest manhunts in Chelan County history, one of the most horrific crimes that we've seen in Chelan County, and we're glad to put it behind us. Personally, I certainly just feel for the family. I couldn't imagine that as a father, to lose any of my kids, especially all three, and I hope that we never see anything like this in Chelan County again. But personally, I'm just glad to see it's closing out and we're putting it behind it. And number one, above all, that we found Mr. Decker, he's accounted for, and that we can say that threat to our community is confirmed, no longer a threat. We will go through the final processes of closing out the case. We know that our detectives still have some things to wrap up. We still consider this to be a criminal case. We're making sure that we've documented all of our evidence, that we've completed all of our reports, and that we've done what we need to do to process the evidence we have. We do not believe there are any other suspects, anything else we need to follow up on, but we want to make sure it's closed properly.
Sheriff, do you think you've gotten any closer, or will you ever get close to the reason why Mr. Decker might have done it?
No, I don't think we'll ever have a true reason. I don't think it really matters what his reasoning was. In our view, and based off the evidence we have, he committed murder. It's inexcusable, it's inexplainable, and we would have liked to, of course, heard his thought process and what he was thinking at the time, but I don't think anything he said would have justified it. The bottom line is our community is now down 3 young girls that would have been our bright future. They're not here. I know several members of our agencies had their kids interacting with them on sporting events and other personal events, so it's a loss for us personally too. We recognize that those girls are gone for their family. They're not going to be able to enjoy birthdays, other memories, first dances, first sporting events, even first jobs. So I certainly feel for them. I understand that is a huge loss, and I certainly will be sending my prayers towards them, hoping that they can find some kind of closure on this.
Can you speak to the state of the remains? You touched on this a little bit last week, but did the crime lab give any indication about why it may have been particularly difficult to test any of the samples in the state of the remains? Or?
No, I would say the biggest challenge to the results was me, personally. I requested more than they're used to. I appreciate Chief Batiste and his team being flexible and willing to adjust. I did not want to take any chance of just coming back with samples from the clothing. I wanted samples from the remains that were also located there. I know this was an unusual request for the State Patrol. I appreciate them humoring me on this, but we also want to make sure we shut down conspiracy theories. Mr. Decker did not bring anyone else up there and leave the remains behind. This is Mr. Decker's remains. The clothing matches, the remains match. That is the end of the conversation. This is why we asked them to take their time, test more samples. And again, I have to follow the lead that our detectives did. They've been thorough, by the book, and have not rushed any process through this. So when we're making this request to the Washington State Patrol, I understand that it took more time, but I certainly have to follow our investigators' leads and say, go the extra mile, don't rush this investigation and make sure it's closed out properly. I think we did that. Though it's frustrating to our community, I understand that, and to others, the Sheriff's Office did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Is there any specific estimate of how many personnel across all the agencies worked together throughout this entire process?
I would say hundreds. In the search alone that the FBI coordinated, we were over 100 personnel that were on the ground searching, in addition to the amount of money that each agency has contributed. Had the Chelan County Sheriff's Office and the Chelan County government itself had to absorb the cost of this, it would have bankrupted our county. So thank you to the FBI, thank you to the U.S. Forest Service, thank you to Border Patrol, thank you to the Marshals, thank you to every single municipality and county agency that came out, contributed funds. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves, and I've heard you've spent a lot of money. I guarantee if it was your kids, you would ask me to spend the same amount of money. So if I had to do it over again, we'd do it exactly the same way to ensure that justice was served and, again, that the law prevailed.
Is this the largest manhunt?
Just pause, hold on. There, how's that? Alicia said, gee, if you want to interview Sheriff Morrison, I promise we will behave. I don't believe you. I don't believe any of you. I see the chat. Mimir, Janice, thank you so much for your sticker. Yeah, Pernil says, those three girls. I mean, it is terrifying as well to think of what happened to them. They were very close, of course. 3 sisters, 3 little girls, aged 9, 8, and 5. Man, I don't like to think about it too much, and I don't want to be too graphic. I'm just saying, one after the other, he would have had to put plastic bags over their heads. That is so terrifying. Oh my goodness. So it's really, really cruel. And yeah, I wish they could have caught him alive so that he could be held accountable, you know. But at least they were able to find his remains. And yeah, he is confirmed deceased. They found his remains, DNA matches, shorts, the same clothing he was last seen wearing. So I think, based on what we're hearing, he probably went to where his remains were found very soon after the crime was committed and probably died there, right? I'm just speculating based on what we're hearing, and they were also saying that would be the most likely scenario. But we will hear more once they have results from the medical examiner's office. Okay.
I'm not sure on the nation. I certainly have our subject matter expert here, but for Chelan County, this certainly takes the largest manhunt that I think we've ever seen, that we've ever heard of. And we did talk to former members of our agency, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before.
Sure. Is there a timeline for the coroner's office as to when they have some more definitive results as to what caused the manhunt?
They said it could take months. I'm not the subject matter expert in here, but I know that Coroner Harris was open to have any questions on that front to be redirected back over towards him. Certainly someone I would trust his opinion. He's done an excellent job for not only the industry, but our county for several years. We're going to miss him, but I know we've got a good candidate coming up behind him with Deputy Earl Crow that's going to be taking that position potentially. So we've got good people in there. I know they'll get the results when they get them. Anything else from anybody?
Thank you for your hard work, Sheriff.
Well, it was definitely a group effort. The Sheriff's Office didn't do this by ourselves. I know I get to stand up here and take some credit, but we didn't do this by ourselves. It certainly was a group effort. The Marshal Service was key. Again, they took on the workload that was this manhunt. The FBI was certainly pulling every string they could behind the scenes, getting additional resources. If we hadn't got the additional funding for that third search, I get that we didn't get the results we wanted to, but we certainly did everything and was showing that we weren't willing to give up. We were going to continue to do what we need to do, but we're just appreciative for all of our partners that came alongside us. And most importantly, and I want to say this too, like our deputies stepped up every single day while we were out here taking on fires, as we're seeing here. The 365-day, 24/7 coverage that we provided was still being taken care of. You've seen our deputies at work handling other cases, and I appreciate them too. They've done a lot of personal sacrifice, and we continue to be here and support them, just appreciative of their efforts. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate you coming, and thank you for being supportive of us during this time. We're looking forward to closing this case out. And to Whitney, certainly hope you know that we never gave up, and Paityn, Evelyn, Olivia, their memories will live on forever. Thank you. This was not in an area that we had already searched.
The skilled military veteran has been on the run from Sheriff Mike Morrison all summer long.
If we hadn't found Mr. Decker during this search, we were going to continue the same next month in another area and continue to push out.
A drone delivered the breakthrough for the FBI and Border Patrol in the woods just south of Leavenworth. It captured images of a T-shirt Decker was known to wear just 3/4 of a mile from where he abandoned his truck.
That's amazing that this drone with AI technology captured images of the t-shirt that he was known to be last seen wearing, right? I'll just go back a few lines here so you can see it. Hear it, sorry.
It captured images of a t-shirt Decker was known to wear just 3/4 of a mile from where he abandoned his truck and where his daughters, Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia, were found dead of asphyxiation. A team rappelled out of a helicopter to cut their way through grass to make way for detectives.
This was off the beaten path. We were bushwhacking. We were going through to find this, and we did rappel our detectives down there just to get there more quickly. We didn't want to spend 3 hours hiking back up to it. It still took them over an hour to hike out.
Crews aren't congratulating each other just yet. A medical examiner must conclude a cause of death.
Travis was still a human being. I don't agree with the acts that he's accused of doing, and I want to make sure, though, that he's still given the respect he deserves. If something happened to him that wasn't natural or that we can explain, we're going to do another investigation.
The only thing pending now is his cause of death. So we shall wait to hear what that would be. If it's just like an article or something that they just share as like a one-liner, I will update you in the pinned comment here. I'll make a YouTube short for you. Make sure you also check out my community tab where I make posts for you just to update you on when there's little updates like that. So thank you so much for watching this with me. I really appreciate it, especially if you're watching all the tying up of the loose ends in these manhunts. It's always great when they are able to apprehend them. I mean, they usually do. There's rarely a case where they don't find them. Here and there it happens, but it's just like such a relief when they do. And recently, 2 manhunts concluded. The one for Travis Decker, where his human remains were found, and that was after just almost 4 months. And then also the manhunt for Anthony Beechand, who was found alive. Yeah, and that was after just 2 weeks of searching for him. That was upstate New York, and the Travis Decker one, of course, as we know, was in Washington. Could you please check if your like button works today? And then if you could share, and I really look forward to reading your comments afterwards. So leave a comment below once the live stream has ended as well. Thank you, everyone. See you again very soon. And in the meantime, stay safe.